everyone. I'm Pastor Misty Howick. I am an ordained elder in the United Methodist Church, and I serve the community of New Song United Methodist Church in Surprise, Arizona. So we are on chapter 19. I know it's a little bit late that I am recording here at 6:39 p.m., but that's okay. We're still going to get this in today. Doing our chapter of Proverbs. We'll do one every weekday until through Maundy Thursday, so just in time for Good Friday and Holy Week, because there are 31 chapters of Proverbs, and so we're more than halfway through. We're getting through, and I'm excited to get through it. It's been really an interesting journey. The question is what kind of wisdom can we take from Proverbs? Proverbs is one of 3 pieces of wisdom literature from the ancient Near East that are in the Hebrew Bible or in our Old Testament. And so it's still, it makes you wonder, what can we take from it? Is it just a historical document? So, something that was written a long time ago for different people a long time ago. Well, we're going to go ahead and read chapter 19, and I'll have a couple of comments for you afterwards. Again, I am reading from the Jewish Study Bible. Well, what I'm going to be reading is from the New Revised Standard Updated Edition of the Bible, but I'm getting my notes from the Jewish Study Bible on the verses, so that we get a little bit of context with these verses. All right, here we go. Better the poor walking in integrity than one perverse of speech who is a fool. Desire without knowledge is not good, and one who moves too hurriedly misses the way. One's own folly leads to ruin, yet their heart rages against the Lord. Wealth brings many friends, but the poor are left friendless. A false witness will not go unpunished, and a liar will not escape. Many seek the favor of the generous, and everyone is a friend to a giver of gifts. If the poor are hated even by their kin, how much more are they shunned by their friends? When they call after them, they are not there. To get wisdom is to love oneself. To keep understanding is to prosper. A false witness will not go unpunished, and the liar will perish. It is not fitting for a fool to live in luxury, much less for a slave to rule over princes. Those with good sense are slow to anger, and it is their glory to overlook an offense. A king's anger is like the growling of a lion, but his favor is like dew on the grass. A stupid child is ruin to a father, and a wife's quarreling is a continual dripping of rain. I'm going to pause right there. So this is so funny. So one, there's a lot of critique about sons and unwise sons, and there is a lot of comments about a wife and how a good wife is the gift from the Lord, and a quarrelsome wife is the bane of one's existence. And we really have to recognize that these letters were written with an adult male in mind. So some say, most of these wisdom sayings are from an adult man to his maybe grown son or a growing son. That seems to be the case, but a lot of these are written by men, and the address is to adult men. So that's why there's a lot addressing women and wives, because that's who the audience is. Okay, and I love the dripping of rain, so I would love a quarreling wife, according to this particular proverb. I'll go to verse 14. House and wealth are inherited from parents, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. Laziness brings on deep sleep. An idle person will suffer hunger. Those who keep the commandment will live. Those who are heedless of their ways will die. Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord and will be repaid in full. Discipline your children while there is hope. Do not set your heart on their destruction. A violent-tempered person will pay the penalty. If you effect a rescue, you will only have to do it again. Listen to advice and accept instruction, that you may gain wisdom for the future. The human mind may devise many plans, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will be established. What is desirable in a person is loyalty, and it is better to be poor than alive. The fear of the Lord is life indeed. Filled with it, one rests secure and suffers no harm. The lazy person buries a hand in the dish and will not even bring it back to the mouth. So the title of today, or the description of today, was what does a lazy person who buries their hand do, or what happens to them? The lazy person buries a hand in a dish and will not even bring it back to the mouth. Isn't that funny? Like, they'll starve. So that's again goes back to lazy people will starve. Strike a scoffer, and the simple will learn prudence. Reprove the intelligence, and they will gain knowledge. Those who do violence to their father and chase away their mother are children who cause shame and bring reproach. My child, stop ignoring instruction, straying from words of knowledge. A worthless witness mocks at justice, and the mouth of the wicked devours iniquity. Punishments are prepared for scoffers, and flogging for the backs of fools. So a couple of things that are notable. So often the poor don't get a very good rap in the Proverbs. They're treated very critically, and some may think that's the Proverbs just kind of pointing out the reality. In fact, if we go here to some of the earlier verses, like verse 7, if the poor are hated even by their kin, how much more are they shunned by their friends? When they call after them, they are not there. It's just, there's continual instructions or I guess comments on the poor and how hard it is to live poor, and that you're not very popular when you're poor. But there is a verse in here that says that being poor is not the worst thing in the world. So, where is it here? There's also in verse 17, whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord and will be repaid in full. So that is good. It talks about that being poor is not the worst thing in the world. I also like here in verse 21, the human mind may devise many plans, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will be established. There was a lot of this a couple of chapters back where we were reminded that ultimately God is in charge, and so this is another one of those verses that reminds us that God indeed is in charge. Let's see. The lazy person buries a hand in a dish and will not even bring it to the mouth. How fun is that? I've lost. No, here's another one against the poor. Wealth brings many friends, but the poor are left friendless. Many seek the favor of the generous, and everyone is a friend to a giver of gifts. This is saying, like, this is the way we see it. This is the way that culture has decided is proper and right, or just human nature even. But it doesn't mean that's what we should be doing. Even as readers of this text, so this is pre-Christian, it doesn't mean, that we should be treating the poor any differently. There was a really interesting comment in the Jewish Bible that talked about the poor. There's also a line missing in chapter 19, which is very interesting. Okay, so from verse 10, luxury is not fitting for a dullard, much less that a servant rule over princes. It says the sages had a conservative view of society. While they demanded fair and compassionate treatment of the lower classes, they assumed that the structure of society as they knew it was fundamentally the right one. Hence, it was thought unseemly for a servant to rule over princes. So, again, they wanted to have compassion for the poor, compassion for those of lower classes, but they didn't really want to do anything to make things more equal. So that's very interesting. Verse 13 talks about wives and women. It says, this proverb does not condemn all women any more than it condemns all sons. Like the entirety of Proverbs, however, it does evaluate relationships from the standpoint of the adult male. There is no comparable criticism about a vexatious husband, except in a general way. And verse 24 that we have the description today on our Facebook and YouTube that talks about extreme sloth. They say this is a humorous picture, verse 24, a humorous picture of extreme sloth. So the lazy man buries his hand in the bowl. He will not even bring it to his mouth. How interesting. Well, there you go. Just a little bit of wisdom for us today. I hope that you're finding something to take away from this chapter and this study. There was one, verse 3. One's own folly leads to ruin, yet the heart rages against the Lord. So often we blame God for those situations that we've gotten ourselves into. And I think it's easy for us to blame someone else for those things. We're studying a lot about sin in our regular church class and in our small groups, and how easy it is to blame other people for our own mistakes. And we do the same with God. We make God our scapegoat in essence, and we don't take responsibility for ourselves. Well, I hope that you all have a wonderful day. Join me again tomorrow for chapter 20. And then, hey, we only have like 11 more verses left. Or not verses, chapters. Whew, I must be tired. Have a great day.